Deafrowe with Deafrowe TV and closed caption, back again with another review. And boy, is it a review. Silent Night, Deadly Night 5, called The Toy Maker, 1991. And I'll tell you right now, this is not the best one of the series. But yeah, let's just go on this review. But before I get started on this review, please like, subscribe, and share. Hit that notification bell so you can see my other reviews. You can go back and watch the first 4 films before this film, number 5 in the series of Silent Night, Deadly Night, The Toy Maker, 1991. This movie, I was about to say shit show. This movie is starring William Thorne as the little boy, Derek, Jane Higginson as Sarah Quinn, the mother, Van Quattro, Tom Quinn, which was the father, who literally is in this movie for about 5 minutes, Tracy Fram as Noah Adams, who you've come to find later is a significant other from 6 years before. Like, really? Neith Hunter returns as a cameo character as Kim. If you watched my last review, you notice Kim was played by Neith Hunter in that one as the reporter and the main character. In this one, she's just like a little cameo role, like they were just like a callback to the previous film for whatever reason. Then you got Mickey Rooney playing Joe Petto. Yes, you heard that right. Joe, Joe, Petto, capital Petto. Obvious reference there, and that's where the bad shit starts to go down. And of course, you got Brian Bremer as Pino, which is basically the son of Joe Petto. Oh my god, I almost didn't make it through this whole thing. I'll be honest with you. And also, Clint Howard does make a cameo appearance in this movie as well, or like another callback to the previous movie. I don't know why Clint Howard and Neith Hunter had to make a cameo appearance in this movie since they were in the last movie, but they did. And so let's get started with this review. I'll save my reactions for the end here. So we get started with this movie, and right away we have a callback to the first movie where he kind of accidentally opens the door to his parents, basically making out in their bedroom, doing what normal parents, do in the bedroom. Shit. I mean, what? This is so odd and so weird, and it's nothing like the first movie whatsoever, but they try to make that little connection there anyway, because, it's just them trying to be weird. Anyway, he goes to the front door and finds a present at the front door, decides to bring it in, and of course the father, in his infinite wisdom, tells him to go back upstairs. You're not going to open presents before Christmas. And he sees the present that he's opened on the floor. He grabs the toy, sits in the chair to take a look at it or whatever. And it's like this little Santa Claus and a ball thing. And, of course, Santa Claus and a ball thing attacks his ass. Let's see, you see this little spot here. Looks down, grabs him, basically straps itself to the father's face. And he can't get it off or whatever. And in hilarity ensues, the father does some stupid shit trying to get this thing off his face, and somehow knocks over the fireplace equipment that also has the hot poker. Hot poker is pointed upwards towards him, and of course he's stumbling around because he's still got this damn thing on his face, and it falls on it, impaling himself in the eyeball. Yes, that's what happens. great stuff. So yeah, yeah, there you go, Mickey Rooney as Joe Petto, Toymaker 5, and then I mean that's basically how. And of course, the boy, the boy witnesses the entire thing, and of course, it screws him up in the head. And you find out, yeah, he's like sitting there, like, oh shit, oh, what the hell? Daddy just got impaled. Oh, well, he's fixing to. Yeah, he's like fighting this damn thing, and of course, there goes the hot poker right there, and then boom, right on the eye. And then it falls off, of course. It's done its job. And what job is that, you say? Oh, just the job of impaling. And the kid's like, no, 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 I don't want to see that. And the kid, of course. Later on, after you go through there's the wife. She's like, oh no, what am I doing without my husband? He impaled himself on a hot poker. And so, yeah, she's trying to take care of her boy now that does not want to talk. He does not talk in this entire movie, by the way. So, there is that. And they have to tell you at the beginning of this movie, or after the events of what happened to his father, that he can no longer wants to talk. So, because of the traumatic events that happened with that toy. And of course, the mother doesn't know that the toy is what did it, and so she, in her infinite wisdom, puts the toy in his bedroom or whatever. And this when you see Neith Hunter, which is basically just plays a little cameo spot as the neighbor, with a kid about 4 years older than the boy or whatever. Then that's in this. So this is her cameo appearance. She is the neighbor, Kim, using the same name from the previous movie. Why they did that, I don't know. Anyway, so to cheer Derek up, the mother, Sarah, decides to take him to the toy store. Yay! Of course, he looks very excited about being at the toy store. Love how they have this old school surveillance camera right above her head here. Jesus. Anyway. So they go see, and this stranger just shows up, and he's like in the background, kind of, checking out these toys and stuff. You really don't know who he is exactly. And then, of course, for the first time you see Mickey Rooney in this shot. And he's trying to make the boy happy with all these toys and stuff. And he's kind of, giving him a few things here and there. And he really doesn't want to have anything to do with the toys. And so they leave. And of course, this is, the mysterious guy's like, yeah, I want to buy these toys and get the hell out of here or whatever. So he buys them. And then the mysterious guy is at a hotel or whatever, and the hotel owner or whatever shows up and is like, hey, you need to get out of here. Your credit card was declined or whatever. I was like, well, I'll get you some cash tomorrow. I was like, all right, we'll take this toy and as a peace offering or whatever. So he gives that guy a toy. He leaves, and of course, it was one of the toys that's rigged up to do something against somebody. And of course, he's driving down the road and all this shit, and the damn thing comes alive robotically and starts attacking him. Gets into his mouth, as you can see here. Like, oh, he's driving down the road, and the sucker's trying to get into his mouth, and of course, it ends up killing him. And pulls his eye sockets in. I mean, this is so weird. I mean, it just pretty good looking paper mache in my opinion, but still. So anyway, vehicle wrecks. He dies, obviously. And we go back to the toy store, and the mysterious man that we still don't know have a name for has decided to investigate the toy store further. And he goes to the toy store and he sees this door into the basement of the toy store. And he opens it up, and something's trying to grab him and pull him down in there. And he like somehow is able to kick him off and leave the toy store. Anyway, we're back to Sarah and her son, Derek. They're off to the mall to talk to Santa Claus about what Santa Claus is going to bring him for Christmas or whatever. So that's what they're doing. And that's when you finally get to see the mysterious man is a mall Santa Claus in this movie, and that's apparently how he's making his money right now in the Christmas season. I mean, it's just whatever. We'll keep going. And then, of course, you got the cameo appearance of Clint Howard at this juncture right here. Here you go. Good old Clint Howard shows up for a little cameo scene right there, as you can see. He's over there by the mirror. There you go. So yeah, there's Clint Howard, and you only see him for this one little scene here. So that's pretty much it. Anyway, the mysterious man wants to go back out there as Santa Claus and actually have the boy on his lap to talk to him or whatever, and you don't really know why, so it just comes off as weird as shit. But they do explain later on why. So yeah. Anyway, he's trying to talk to the boy. The boy doesn't want to say much of anything, and of course she's like, "Okay, we'll just leave," and they leave. And of course, Nino, or Pino, whatever his name is, the son of Mickey Rooney's character Joe Petto, is for some reason in the house of Sarah and Derek and looking at pictures and stuff like that. And they're headed back. Yeah, there's Pino right there. Looking at her stuff, you know. And then Pino, when they come home, and like the neighbor Kim comes up and is like, "Look, I saw movement in your house. I don't want you to be alarmed or whatever." And basically, her whole cameo appearances is just to show up at the right time. It's just to move the plot along. That's Kim's whole ordeal in this movie. Let's see if I can just get her. Yeah, he goes and basically puts his headphones on. Yeah, Kim shows up to basically tell her, "Hey, I saw movement in your house, and I thought you were home, but you just got here, so there's movement in your house. Just want to let you know." And so she's like, "What? Damn it!" So she goes in there, and then and that's when she finds Pino. Pino walks out, or like runs out and gets away. And we cut back to Mickey Rooney's character Joe Petto drinking a nice little glass of Jack Daniels. And that's when Sarah Quinn, comes into the shop. He's like, "Look, Pino was just at our house or whatever." And he goes on to explain the reason Pino was in the house is because that used to be our house, and I lost it, due to foreclosure or blah, blah, blah. And so that's why he was over there. And he's, whatever. And then there's another present that shows up for Derek at the front door, and the mother doesn't think much of it, grabs it and puts it under the tree. And Derek is kind of like, he knows these presents showing up at the door are bad, because that's what killed his father, and that's the reason he ain't been able to talk and all this other stuff. So he's like, "I'm going to get rid of this damn present before it kills somebody." And so he sneaks it outside and puts it in the trash can. Of course, the neighborhood kid of, or the son of Kim right here that you see on the redhead right here, decides to pull it out of the trash can and put the put what he finds on and skate around, and that's what he does. And we cut back to Geppetto and Pino fighting over this whole ordeal with going back to that house and everything, and then he's like basically harassing him and that kind of stuff, and then anyway, then we cut back to the kid with the roller skates on, or rollerblades, whatever, and let's see, keep cutting, and then all of a sudden he's messing around with this older dude out front who just randomly shows up with his girlfriend, but you find out later the girlfriend's like a babysitter, so she's always in the area for some odd reasons, just walking around kissing a dude. Well, I don't know. Strange. Anyway, the rollerblades had like little rockets attached to them that would just go off randomly, and then like the kid is, yeah, he's like roller skating around, and all of a sudden the damn things like started going in every direction. But I found it hilarious that he's able to stay upright the entire time. I'm like, if you have rollerblades that are going off like that, I'm pretty sure your first instinct is going to be to fall. But somehow he manages to stay upright, and this roller skates take him all the way out into the road, and he gets hit by a car, and of course ends up in the hospital like this. A rollerblade incident. And Kim points out that something was done to the rollerblades, and basically shows her like some the wires that were in the rollerblades. I don't know if I got that shot. I don't know if I can get that shot in there or not. Let's see if I can get it. She shows them the rollerblades right here, and see these wires connected to it, and then made it go off like that. So yeah, she's telling Sarah like something's up. These presents are not regular presents that are doing something. They're rigged up to do certain things. Anyway, mysterious man shows up at the door. Like I said, we still haven't heard his name yet. And he's claiming to the babysitter that he's a friend of the family and all this stuff. And the babysitter's like, no, you got to go away. And he's like, well, tell me where she works and I'll go meet her there. And the babysitter tells her where Sarah works. And he's like, all right, I'll go there. So he decides to go there. And he finally sees her. Then this is when everything finally comes together. I'm going to skip past this part. She's just telling the story to the kids. And of course, they're going to try to go make out on the kid's bed, because apparently the kid's been sleeping with his mom on her bed ever since the father got killed by that toy. So they say, hey, let's go make out on the kid's bed. Whatever. Anyway, so mysterious man shows up and introduces himself to Sarah. Sarah finally realizes who it is, and it's a guy named Noah, who happens to be her love interest before she got married. And apparently the love interest that ends up being the actual biological father of Derek. Days of our lives, much do we hear. Come on now. Anyway, so apparently he found out through the newspaper that the father was killed by weird circumstances, and he decides to just come back into her life and Sherlock the shit out of this toy incident or death incident or whatever. So I don't know. I mean, it's just strange, and they just immediately hook back up too, and just make out into. She drops her keys down a drainage thing on the parking deck, and so he's like, I'll just give you a ride. And then, of course, that ride means the front and the back of the car, because they didn't make it to the front of the car before they made out and did the dirty in the back of the damn car. And when I say car, it's a Chevrolet Blazer. Or no, it's a GMC Jimmy. Same difference. Anyway, so they get it on in the back of the Jimmy while the two youngsters are getting on in Derek's bed or whatever. Yeah, so they get it on. They're both getting it on at the same time. It's like we're watching some type of, softcore Cinemax thing, except we don't see any boobs. No boobs in this movie, by the way. The only reason it's rated R is because of the blood, I guess you could say, and the just bad effects. I mean, they're not. And then, of course, he's dressed as Santa Claus, and he shows up at Derek's house and leaves a bunch of toys right in Derek's room because he's there to kidnap Derek, and you'll find out why in a minute. And you find out this ain't really Mickey Rooney's character, Geppetto. It's actually Pino. So he throws a bunch of toys in there, one including a robotic hand that does its own thing and starts to, choke the dude. And then all these other toys start coming after him and shooting him and cutting him up and all that kinds of stuff. There's got one little eyeball-looking thing chewing on her leg there. Just all kinds of crazy stuff doing crazy weird things. Boom, and little army tanks firing real bullets and stuff like that. Anyway, little robotic toys just, taking them on, trying to kill them. Well, then this little remote control car with a bunch of blades attached to it and just attacks them. Anyway, the boyfriend ends up getting killed or something like that, and of course now they finally make it to the front of the car. He decides to drive her on home, and of course by that time Geppetto, which is actually Pino, has made it all the way back to the store with Derek in tow. So there you go. And they finally make it back to the house. And the first thing they're greeted with is the babysitter coming out there all bloodied up and stuff. She's like, "My boyfriend's dead. He's dead in there," and all this other stuff. And of course, whatever. Anyway, and so she basically tells Sarah "Hey, they took the guy took Derek or whatever," and she knows exactly who they're talking about. So she goes to the toy store to confront. He's chasing her down, trying to confront as well, because he realizes it's his son. She does tell him that it is his son, and the whole reason that she married that other dude was because she was pregnant with that dude's son, whose name ends up being Noah, by the way. Anyway, so here we go. They're trying to get their son back from this maniac or whatever, and come to find out it is not who he claims to be. Come to find out Geppetto is dead, as you can see here, and it's because Pino killed him. But how does Pino look like that, you say? Because Pino is a robot. So yeah, you can see this. Let me see if I can get this just right. Yeah, here we go. So he pulls off his front of his face, hands it to her, and then of course, hey, there you go. That's the internals of Pino right there. Pino decides to put on put on his regular face or whatever. And there you go, there's his regular face. And of course he's wearing this weird ass, doll arms and doll body and everything like that. As you can see here. And the whole reason that Pino is doing this because he wants a real mommy. Because Joe Petto could not be a real father to him because he is not a real boy, but he is in love with Sarah Quinn and wants her to be his mommy. Just so freaking weird. So yeah, he's like, explaining to her, like, hey, he could build anything, and he's like, almost anything, ha ha ha, because he has no, wedding tackle down there, as you can obviously see here. And then, like, he's like, I want you to be my mommy, and at the same time, he's saying, I want you to be my mommy. He's freaking trying to dry hump her. It's just the weirdest scene ever. God, this movie's terrible. I mean, anyway, so yeah, they get the upper hand on the little robot kid dude, whatever you want to call him, Pino, whatever. They, hack him up into bits with an axe. And they all go home and live happily ever after. And that's the end of this movie. And I am so glad that is the end of this movie. Now, is this a one star crap fest for me? Yes, it is. I'm sorry. This is terrible. I might give it a 1.5 star. Let's put it that way. Give it a half star for. I mean, there's not even any boobs in this movie. All the lovemaking scenes and stuff, you would think one would slip out here and you would see it, but did not happen in this movie. All 4 of the movies before this had some type of skin, This one, barely any. And none at all that you wanted to see. You know what I mean? It's not really in the vein of a slasher like the 4 before it. And the weird reason that, Mickey Rooney of all people to be in this thing. I mean, it was just weird. And the whole Pinocchio crossover thing too just didn't make any sense either. So yeah, we'll give it a 1.5. It's not a complete 1-star crap fest. It had its good bits. I did like the bit with the hold on just a minute here. Bit with the little insect thing that went into dude's mouth while he was driving. I thought that was kind of cool. But other than that, there wasn't. No, this movie was terrible, and I would have to say, out of all the 5 movies, this was probably the worst because it really didn't have a lot of effects to it other than costumes. And the costumes weren't that great. Obviously, he was supposed to be Nino, was supposed to be Pino or whatever. It was supposed to be Pinocchio. Haha, Pino is Pinocchio shortened. And Joe Petto is supposed to be Geppetto. Blah 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 blah. Why the Pinocchio crossover bullshit in a Christmas horror movie? It's supposed to be like a slasher when it really isn't. It's toys. It's just not a great movie. And why the cameo appearance by the previous 2 characters from the movie before this one, I don't know. So yeah, 1.5 stars. That's what I'm going to give it. And that is my last review of this year for Deafrowe Closed Caption. I appreciate you for all watching all the reviews that I've put out this year. I'll catch you out on the edge of another review next year. And this is Deafrowe signing off for the year 2023. Thank you for watching. Deafrowe out.